Hi, this is Amol and this is the time for rule number 5. Now, rule number 5 मेरा सबसे बेहतरीन और मेरा फेवरेट है. रूल नंबर 1 में हमने बात की थी कि do not study grammar rules. I told you to get rid of your grammar textbooks and some of you are feeling stressed because all your life you were told that grammar is the key to English. Now, if it was the key, probably you would have been speaking English because I know that you have studied grammar rules a lot. Now, grammar itself is important. Of course, we need a grammar. Of course, we need to use grammar correctly when we speak. But you don't learn it from studying the grammar rules or memorizing a bunch of rules in a textbook. Instead, rule number 5 is this: use point of view mini stories. Use point of view mini stories. That's rule number 5. The point of view stories, it's a method, it's a technique for learning English grammar, and specifically for learning spoken English grammar, because of course we are talking about the speaking, not writing. So use point of view stories to learn English grammar. Don't use textbook, don't study grammar rules. Instead, use point of view stories. Now, what is point of view mini stories? You're asking, right? Most people don't know, but here's the simple explanation. A point of view story or stories, actually it's a series of stories. Point of view stories, it's a series of stories. Basically what you need to do is you get one basic story told from a certain point of view. What that means is the story would have been told from any certain point of view. That means certain point of time. For example, कोई एक स्टोरी है जो भूतकाल में हो चुकी है, वही आपको उस कालखंड के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आपको बताई जाएगी. Let me give you the small example. There was a dog. He was very hungry, so he ate a lot of food. That's not much of a story, but that's the example. So you would listen to the story in the past, right? 10 years ago, there was a dog. He was very hungry and he ate a lot of food. And then, of course, the real point of view stories is much more longer and interesting and fun. And it would be more complicated. But that's for example. So you can understand the idea. So the first thing is you listen to the story from one point of view. भूतकाल के दृष्टिकोण से वो story आपको सुननी पड़ेगी. Then, by this kind of learning, you are learning the past tense, the verb form. But you don't need to study the textbook. You don't need to study the past tense. You just need to listen as long you understand. You will naturally, subconsciously, and in fact, naturally, you will learn the correct grammar or past tense or the verb of the word. And here's the next thing you do with the point of view mini stories. You would listen the same exact story, but now it would be told from the present tense point of view. जो भूतकाल की स्टोरी है वही अभी इस बार present tense के point of view से सुननी होगी. Now again, this is not the exact story. This is the same basic structure. This is the same basic story, but it's happening right now. It's happening today. ये आज हो रहा है present tense में, or might happening every day. So what you do is that you listen to the story. Of course, real story would be more longer and more complicated and more funny, but you get the idea. And by listening to the two versions of the story, you would learn the past tense and then you will learn the present tense. You wouldn't just learn the verb forms. You learn all the basic structures of the sentence. You would learn about the important time phrases: right now, today, 10 years ago, since. Because these time phrases will tell you the stories. Because these time phrases tell you which verbs to use. And of course, you could listen the same story again and again, or in the next version, or the next version would be the present perfect, or in the past. Again, you don't need to know what the tenses are. Okay, you don't need to analyze. You don't need to go deep into the definition. As long as you understood, just listen. With speech, there is no time to think, to remember the bunch of rules. There is no time to translate. बोलते वक्त हम किसी भी प्रकार का ट्रांसलेशन हमारे दिमाग में नहीं करते हैं. You need to think in English. You need to feel English. You need to understand instantly in English and say instantly and correctly without thinking. And you never learn that by studying grammar rules. You will learn it through point of view mini stories. And of course, we will tell you the stories from the future point of view. In future, there will be a dog. He will be very hungry, and he's gonna eat a lot of food. Gonna means going to. So you would listen whole story. It's the same basic story, but it's told from the various point of views. And listening from all the point of view stories, it's just not the verb. Sometimes vocabulary changes. And it's not just the verb form. For the grammar, we need to focus on. I'm making the small changes. You will get that very easily, what's happening, without thinking, without analyzing, without memorizing. It will just happen automatically. By listening these simple and easy stories, by listening all these kind of point of view mini stories, you will learn how to use the correct grammar instantly and naturally. This is much more powerful than studying some boring books. And the great thing is that you have to do is, as you are a student, as a learner, you have to listen to each version of the story every day. That's all. Your job is to listen and understand and enjoy the story. You just need to concentrate and focus how the things changes. You need to remember. You don't need to remember any grammar terms. You don't need to remember any tense form. Just forget all these things. You just have to understand and focus on the story and understand the meaning, understand the point of view, understand the time. You can compare the different versions of the stories all together. It's a really easy and fun way to do it. And of course, in my real point of view stories, I make the stories crazy and funny and entertaining so that it can be remembered for the longer time. So, this is how you will learn grammar easily and naturally and consciously. And this is how you learn through getting feeling for correctness. It's the feeling from inside that something sounds right or something sounds wrong. You have that in your own language. जब हिंदी में कोई गैर हिंदी अगर बात करता है तो उनके छोटे छोटे शब्दों से और वाक्यों से हमें पता चलता है कि he is not a good speaker or he is not speaking correctly, right? Grammatically there is a wrong terms. वो सहज आपके पकड़ में आ जाता है. It has to be, right? So that's it. When you are learning the point of view stories, you will learn to use grammar automatically and correctly. You will learn much faster and you will improve your spoken English grammar. And you will learn like a child. You will actually have fun while doing this. You will actually enjoy learning grammar by listening to these stories, and that's a big benefit. So, rule number 5 is use point of view mini stories to learn and master the spoken English grammar. Okay? I'll see you soon for rule number 6. Bye-bye.